work anyway.
You're live.
There I am.
Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Test. All right.
I like how when it rains and there's just a little tiny bit of wet road, people drive like 20 miles an hour slower.
They're not used to driving like that yet.
Going. Good Lord.
That's just part of it here. All right.
Got places to go, man.
Place to go, people to see. Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know how it sounds there, YouTube land. We got about 8-9 minutes here before we get going. So let me know how it is. And while yet I'm talking to Jesse Flath before we go on YouTube, or I'm sorry, before we go on radio. Jesse, where are you headed today?
I'm headed to Killdeer, North Dakota, about 3.5 miles north and a mile west. Going to an auction for Wolf Auctioneers.
Big equipment. I saw your Facebook Live this morning.
Yeah, it's all large equipment, a lot of pickups. It's an oil field company that's going out of business. Environment Driven Solutions, I believe, is the name of the organization, and about 72 lots, something like that, online on proxy bid today, and about an hour of smalls before that. And the smalls aren't actually small. There's they got welders and lots of like larger shop tools, so it'll be all right.
And bring your muck boots is what you're saying too,
muck
right?
Boots and raincoats and yeah. I got to listen to you and Andy and everybody else on Pfeiffer's yesterday at the West Dakota land auction or the West Dakota consignment auction.
There we go.
How was that?
Good. Pierre, good morning. Yep. Good morning, Pierre. Good to have you this morning. They're loud and clear. Good to have them.
It seemed like prices were pretty strong on the majority of things.
You bet. Yeah. Overall, there's a little bit of concern about buying tillage equipment here at this time of the year, but overall, I think everything else went really, really well.
Probably not the best time of the year to sell an air seeder in North Dakota.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
And plus we could have sold, but you got to protect the sellers a little bit once in a while on that stuff. But everything else turned out pretty. I know everything I was looking at went higher than I wanted. So
cool.
I came up with nothing.
You and Andy today, when you get on, I understand you're having him on the second half of the show.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, talk a little bit about something I heard. I don't remember if it was on Trent Lewis's program or where it was. That the swine production. No, it was on Scott Hennon's show. The African swine flu in China has killed like billions of pounds of hogs. And they're saying now that is more of a contributor to China not buying soybeans than the supposed dreaded trade war.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be the one to ask that question. I'm going to have Trent Lewis on one of these days.
There you go. That might be a good idea. That's it was an interesting theory that was brought up. So
if you're feeding half the amount of swine, you probably don't need that many soybeans.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope. Hey, man, I'm going to have to let you go. I'm going to hook up the rest of the guys on the...
you bet. I'll be on the road for the next hour listening.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right, YouTube. About 6 minutes to go here. 5-6 minutes. Good morning, John. Koly. Hopefully everything's well down your way, too. Wonder if Brent's still taking people out fishing here. I'm going to get John on the phone here quick. That's it. Hello, John. Are you there? Oh, pretty good. You got you're cutting in and out just a little bit yet. Okay. No worries. Yeah, it is. Yep, lots better. You bet. So, again, we start at 6 minutes after. We'll have a break at 15 after, and then we're out at 30 after is basically how we do it. We're also going to be, besides the radio stations, we're also on YouTube Live as well. So just fair warning for that. So, good. Yep. 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 What was that? Really? Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You're getting enough rain to keep things flushed out, aren't you? Yeah. 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 We can definitely discuss that. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll just go through a lot of this and just try to inform everybody as best we can. What I got an email from uh, KGFX about the Wildlife Damage Management and Animal Damage Control Program. Do you want to touch on that at all? Seeking public input on that, or is that okay? Excellent. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna switch you over and get you hooked up through my mixer board here and make sure all the audio levels are set, and we'll take it from there. Okay. Snap. Alrighty. Okay. John, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear
Perfect.
me?
I can, you bet. So we're not on live on the radio yet, but we are on YouTube Live at this current moment. So just a fair warning. So
I can handle that.
yeah. So they get to watch us on YouTube here and listen to us just banter back and forth before we get actually on air.
Oh, that's good.
It is. Yeah.
Is it windy in North Dakota right now?
It's a little bit breezy this morning. Not too bad. I think it's supposed to pick up this afternoon, but we had a little shot of rain again yesterday and last night, and which is rare for where I live. And so yeah, it's everything's been that South Dakota, especially the western side of South Dakota, has been pretty darn wet over there. I know the Black Hills have been seeing a lot of rain this year. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I had 30 hundredths in Pier last night, and I got on the weather this morning when I went to work. They said it was supposed to be 8-mile-an-hour winds. I bet we have 25 right now. So I'm like, I missed that one.
Yeah. I think, I don't know about you, but we have had a lot less grouse hunters over the years, and it seems like there's not getting any new ones here. But we only got 30 seconds, so stand by here. We're going to come back and do that here. Get my stuff set up on this end. Okay. All right, it's gonna go quiet here for the next few seconds here, so stand by. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Good to have you along here this morning as we're broadcasting on KFYR in Bismarck, KOLY in Mobridge, South Dakota, also KGFX, Capital City, Pierre, South Dakota, as well. Good to have you along here this morning on YouTube Live. For those that are subscribed to the channel here, thank you. Go to Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, and you can watch it currently live in process right now, or you can check it out anytime as it automatically gets saved to my channel history. So if you want to check out more of my daily programs, you can go back. I keep about 30 days worth on my website, dakotaprairieoutdoors.com, if you want to check out any of those as well. So that's what's happening here. We got a great show today. Yesterday I was at the Pfeiffer's auction in Bowman, North Dakota. Andy Mrnak will join me in the second half of the broadcast. We have the West Dakota land auction coming up, and I tell you what, there's a lot of great properties all across the Western Dakota territory that you get your chance to have a very rare chance of some land up in Sentinel Butte. Yeah, not very often stuff like this comes up, but you'll have a chance. We'll talk to Andy Mrnak here in the second half of the program. In the first half, we head down to Pierre, South Dakota, out in the field, grouse hunting. John Murphy from the South Dakota Game Fish Parks. Good morning, John.
Morning, Scott. How are you today?
Yeah, every day that I wake up is a pretty blessed day, so I'm pretty good today. How was everything in Pierre, South Dakota this morning?
It's a little windy down here, but the sun came up, saw a few deer running around, so it is pretty good.
Opening day of grouse season, and does South Dakota still have quite a few grouse numbers? How's the population look?
It's in South Dakota this last year. Our grouse numbers are looking pretty good right now.
Good.
The one thing with the grouse we have a real hard time going out and counting grouse because it's not like our pheasants where we can do the roadside surveys. Usually in the springtime we do some lek surveys where they're up on their leks doing their breeding, dancing, and all that good jazz. But it's one of those things. It's really hard to find them. But this year, of all the people we've talked to, a lot of the ranchers have been out haying. Forest Service people out doing their stuff on the Forest Service lands. We've heard the grouse numbers look really good, so we're really excited about this season.
I was just going to ask you if you take a lot of what the landowners say in. They're out there all the time. Our grouse numbers here around the ranch up here is looking good again this year. And of course we don't have pheasant in this side of the state very much, though. I shouldn't say in this side, but where I live, if you see a pheasant, it's a pretty rare sight.
Yep. No, we when we're out there talking to those ranchers and farmers, they're out there every day, out there haying or out there checking cows or whatever, and they're great information for us. That's what we usually with the grouse numbers. Talk to some of the bigger landowners that I know and see what they're seeing, and that's how kind of we get to feel where we're at. As I said again, they're really hard to survey, so we rely on them a lot just so we kind of know what happens. The numbers have been looking really good for this year. We'll find out today, I guess, and we'll see how those hunters.
So how's the hunting, the hunter side of things? Because I just seeing it less and less grouse hunters year after year, and I don't see any young people getting into grouse hunting anymore. Is that kind of holding true in your neck of the woods, or is that just an area thing up here?
Well, it's kind of a nationwide thing going on right now with our hunters. We're seeing a lot of our hunters getting older and aging out. But grouse hunters, they're not the typical pheasant hunters. These guys get out and walk. They got these pointing dogs that run big.
Yeah.
It's a unique section of the hunting public. But we're recruiting people right now. We're doing a lot of efforts. I know South Dakota Game and Fish, North Dakota Game and Fish, both are working on recruiting more hunters into the field and getting the younger hunters out there. But we get a lot of non-resident hunters. Seems to be a lot of people from Wisconsin, Minnesota, down south. There's a lot of people are kind of specialized in the grouse hunting, and we're about the first place going west that has the opportunity to hunt both the sharp tails and the prairie chickens. We have them both here in central South Dakota.
Yeah. I think it's fun. I remember growing up where the day wasn't complete until you got your pheasant, your grouse, and your partridge limit for the day. The day just kept going and going, and I don't see those days anymore where it seems like either they're grouse hunters or they're pheasant hunters. They don't usually cross over very much anymore.
No, we don't see that a lot, but once in a while you will, especially later on in the season when those grouse, they get, there's a lot more numbers of them all packed together, and some guys will find some good places to pass shoot them or something like that. And we'll see that too. But yeah, it'll be interesting today to see. The weather's super nice down here. It's not going to be super hot out, so those guys should have a pretty good day to be out there without getting too hot.
Well, not only that, I think it's good on the dogs that it's not too hot either.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. The dogs are the biggest thing because it's such an early season this time of year. Your dog's not in shape. If you're not in shape, you're going to find out in a hurry.
Well, I think North and South Dakota has the largest amount of dog trainers that come in from the southern states, down in that humid area that come up and train those dogs, don't they?
Yes. There's a lot of people that come up to both of the Dakotas, and I think the reason is we have those routes that they don't have down there, and
Sure.
they can train them, and they bring their horses up, and they do them multiple dogs and stuff like that. But it is a destination place, and this is a destination for people who like to grouse hunt because it's one of the opportunities they get to hunt both species.
Yeah. What type of waterfowl seasons are open up in South Dakota? I think some youth seasons, aren't they?
We did. We have our youth season actually open this morning, and hopefully I can go see a couple kids out hunting.
Good.
This is a great time in the Dakotas because we have so much water, as you know, with all the rain from this whole summer. We probably produced more ducks this year than we have in the last 5 years. So today and tomorrow is our youth season. So hopefully we'll have a bunch of kids out there hunting those little ponds because there's a lot of ducks here. A lot of pintails around. Hopefully, usually we don't get to see the pintails. They usually already migrated by the time the regular season opens. So it'd be kind of neat to see a kid actually harvest one of those.
Yeah. So what's the rules for limits for this year's duck season in South Dakota?
So it's pretty much the same as the regular season for the youth season. Depends on what unit you're in is what you can have. So the biggest thing with our duck seasons, we have about 4 different units. So you got to get in the book because our dates open in each different unit or different times. So you just got to get in the book and figure out what unit you're in and go to tell you what all the information you need to do. Actually, in my area, I have 2 different units. So I actually have an opener in September, then we have our other opener in October.
Mm-hmm. You said there's a little bit of, what'd you call that in your duck population this year?
We got some disease going around a little bit.
Okay.
It's called botulism.
Sure.
We talked about it a little earlier when we were on the air, but it's something that happens naturally. We've seen it a little bit down by Chamberlain. We had a suspected little bit of botulism up here by Pier. What happens is, especially this time of year, we had a lot of rain. So we got a lot of wetlands out in those fields. And what happens when the water gets real shallow, it gets real warm, that bacteria comes out. It's a natural thing that happens. The duck contracts it and it kills it. Okay. We haven't seen any big die-offs of it. 10 here, 12 here, something like that. Last I heard. But, we know a lot of people are out hunting. A lot of the farmers are out checking their crops. If you guys see any dead ducks, make sure you guys report it to the Game and Fish Agency in North Dakota or South Dakota so we can check it out because we can test for that stuff. And just make sure we're not getting something else in our birds out here. But the botulism that happens, it's one of those deals every couple of years we see it. Hopefully it doesn't get bad, but we have seen a little bit this year in South Dakota.
Okay. Well, John, we're up against our first break, so I'm going to have you hold on here for a second, and we'll come back. More with John Murphy from South Dakota Game Fish Parks Department here. If you want to call in, feel free to do so. 888-9-Dakota. It's a toll-free number, 888-932-5682. That's 888-932-5682 or 888-9-Dakota. We'll have more coming up on K-Fire, KOLY, and KGFX, along with YouTube, after these messages.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust Foundation Female Program is now accepting applications from area youth enrolled in 7th or 8th grade. The Foundation Female Program was established to award recipients with an interest-free loan to purchase 5 bred heifers and assist area youth in establishing their own cattle herd. For more information, qualifications, or to apply for a chance to receive a 0% APR loan, please visit your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust or go to dakotacommunitybank.com. Member FDIC.
The North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame proudly presents East Greets West, the benefit dinner and auction, Friday, November 1st at the Avalon Event Center in Fargo. This annual event's become a benchmark and is always well attended. There'll be a social, a delicious dinner, and auction, and our featured guest speaker is North Dakota Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford. And enjoy great music performed by special guest Jesse Veeder. For tickets, go to NorthDakotaCowboy.com or call 701-623-2000. East Greets West, November 1st at the Avalon Event Center in Fargo, produced and presented by the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Mandan Sporting Goods, 210 East Main. Again, sitting with Joe, talking about deer hunting coming around the corner. When it comes to the deer list, you don't think about your wife's deer list. It's deer hunting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She doesn't make very good venison.
Let's talk about the rifles for deer season here. You got plenty of them to choose from, but name like some of the top 3 that people are coming in and they're just flying off the shelf.
Well, I would say the Marlins, Ruger Americans, of course, the Remingtons, of course. Savage is a super gun out of the box. They're as good as any of them as far as accuracy right out of the box.
What are some of the special things that coming around deer season, like optics, ammunition, people are looking at? I know rangefinders are kind of big, and you guys carry a full line of optics as well.
Rangefinders is quite a thing. I mean, you got your cheaper ones, you get your higher ones. If you're going to buy one, you may as well buy a good one that'll get out there.
Mandy Sporting Goods, it's 210 East Main. Stop by.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
Hey folks, Scott Bachmeyer sitting with Andy Mrnak from Piper's Auction and Realty. Andy, a lot of great land sales coming up here October. What do you got?
Absolutely. October is a very busy month for Piper's Auction Company, especially on the western side of the state. We're going to kick it off on October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, a 4-day auction period for this year's 14th annual Western Dakota Land Auctions. 5,600 acres throughout western North Dakota in 14 auctions in 4 days, and it's all going to be capped off on Friday, October 11th with a Sentinel Butte property, which includes 320 acres of the actual south half of Sentinel Butte. Lots of good cropland, pasture land, hay ground, and lots of great hunting land in western North Dakota. You can get all the details on each and every one of these sales at pifers.com.
Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Hi, everybody. This is Scott Bachmeyer, and besides being the host of Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio and also a rancher in the Badlands, I'm also an auctioneer. So if you're looking to auction off property, maybe you have farm equipment, a production sale coming up, even a benefit or a fundraiser, I'm the guy that can help you out. Maybe you're listening and you have your own auction company and you find yourself short of help sometimes. I can step up as an auctioneer or even help as a ringman. Give me a call, send me a message, 701-425-6651. That's 701-425-6651.
Hi, this is Andy Mrnak with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to the Fall Western Dakota Equipment Auction in Bowman, North Dakota this Friday, September 20th. This year's great event features late model John Deere and Case 4-wheel drive tractors, loader tractors, and combines, in addition to an excellent selection of air seeders, tillage equipment, semis, trailers, grain trucks, vehicles, and lots of livestock equipment, hay equipment, and tools. Join Piper's Auctioneers this Friday, September 20th at Piper's Regional Office in Bowman, North Dakota. Full inventory and online bidding is available at pifers.com.
As a leader in farm and ranch insurance in North Dakota, Dakota Community Insurance understands the importance of protecting all aspects of your operation, no matter how large or small. Your Dakota Community Insurance agent can customize an insurance package to cover your farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. For more information, call your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust or visit dakotacommunitybank.com.
10 seconds.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition continues all across the Dakota Territory. KFYR Bismarck, KOLY Mobridge, KGFX in Pierre, and also YouTube Live right now. You can also check that out. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio is my channel. John Murphy from South Dakota Game Fish is my guest here. John, welcome back to the program here. Now, when we were off air here a little bit, or I should say off YouTube as well, you and I were discussing some zebra mussels that sneaking into South Dakota, and also I think there's a lake in North Dakota too. I'll try to look that up too, but kind of a scary deal, isn't it?
It is. It's a big deal in South Dakota. We've had zebra mussels for the last couple of years on Lewis and Clark Lake, which is the southernmost reservoir on the Missouri River, and they've been pretty well contained on that reservoir. But this summer we discovered them in Lake Sharp, which is the lake right below Lake Hawaii, which South Dakota and North Dakota share, and it's a huge issue for South Dakota because now we're having them spread, and they're spreading north, and it's we've been trying to keep on top of them, but it's a really hard thing to do. And the consequences by spraying these zebra mussels are pretty great.
What's the main reason they spread? Just people not wiping their boat down or transferring a little bit of water here and there? Is that what it is?
Well, what's happening, those zebra mussels, they can live in water for up to 30 days, like a cup of water. And when they do move, we're seeing them, getting moved by people. They're not getting moved by waterfowl or, birds aren't picking them up and moving them. They're getting moved by people because we're seeing them get moved up the reservoirs. It's a huge issue with our boating public. This summer we did a lot of enforcement in South Dakota.
Sure.
And our compliance wasn't real great. We're trying to get better with the compliance. We're telling everybody they need to pull their plugs because any of that water comes out of Lake Sharp or Lewis and Clark or Francis Case. If there's any zebra mussels, which are some of them are microscopic, they can transfer them without them knowing it even. So it's been a big issue with our department for the last 3 months. We found them at Lake Sharp now, and now the big thing is to try to keep them out of our other waters in South Dakota, especially Lake Oahe.
Yeah.
And, we don't want them up in North Dakota either. I know you guys have some, but definitely something else you guys don't need to deal with.
Well, not only that, but so what exactly does a zebra mussel do that's so bad for the water system?
So these zebra mussels, they're a mussel, but they're an exotic one. They came from Europe. When they attach to things, they clog things up. They filter the water. They'll make the water super clean, which could affect our fisheries in South Dakota. A lot of places have them. The Great Lakes have them right now. They haven't seen a lot of negative effects to their fisheries. We don't know what's going to happen here in South Dakota with that. It could have a negative effect, but the biggest effect it's going to have is on people who have water intakes. All these people have irrigation along the Missouri River. All the cities that take the water out of the Missouri River, it's going to be big problems for them because it gets in their pipes and clogs their pipes, and it takes a lot of money to clean that kind of stuff. So we've been visiting with the irrigation people, the cities, anybody's taking water out of the Missouri River because it's going to be a big issue for everybody.
Absolutely. What do you need to do when you pull your boat, you pull the plug? Is there any, should a guy bleach down some things, or does that kill them, or what's the best way to get rid of them?
This AIS stuff's been going around the Midwest and down in the southwest part of the United States for the last couple of years. The biggest thing we want people to do is drain all the water out of their boat. When you pull your boat out of the water, make sure it's clean. Go check the hull, check everything else. Make sure you don't have anything stuck to your boat. Fill your boat. Make sure there's no weeds on it because we have some exotic weeds too. We don't want people moving them around. Make sure your boat's clean. Make sure it's dry on the outside, dry on the inside, because we don't want any water in those boats to get transferred. So they can live in a cup of water. So you just make sure it's clean, dry, and make sure you pull your drain when you leave the lake so you don't have any water in your boat. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we got about 5 more minutes. What other hot topics does South Dakota Game Fish have right now that's going on that needs to be explained to people?
Nothing really earth-shattering going right now, but we just got we have our pheasant numbers came out. I don't know if you talked about that before in South Dakota. This year, our numbers are looking pretty much the same as last year. We've had a really cool, wet spring. They said we were about 17% down in our actual count, but we had a lot of roads we couldn't make it down to count pheasants just because there was so much water.
Yeah.
One thing too is I was talking about the grouse too. Is the pheasants, we have so much grass this year. This is the most grass I've seen in my career in 20 years in South Dakota. So there's a lot of habitat out there. So I don't think we're seeing all the pheasants either. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be probably a pretty late harvest this year in South Dakota, just the way the crops are. It got so wet early, it took them so long to get the crops in, and talking to a lot of the farmers in central South Dakota, a lot of them are going to be harvested in November. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some corn come out even in December.
Yeah. That makes it a little bit tougher because the pheasant are going to be, just piled in those cornfields.
They are. It is going to be a little tougher.
Yeah.
But, for us guys like to hunt that late season when we get some snow, I think it helps us out too.
Yeah. Well, what you need to do is just find that one guy that's finishing up the last round of that cornfield and just sit at one end, because the pheasants are going to be coming out of that end thicker than snot out that way. So
some people have done that.
Oh yeah. I know you said the drought in 2017 really affected a lot of the pheasant population, even kind of trying to rebound that, but the water does too. A cool wet spring, explain to people what that does to the hatches.
those birds, when they first get hatched, those little pheasants, they don't have any feathers, so they can't what they call thermoregulate, which just means control their body temperatures. So when we get those cool springs, they just get cold and they can kill them with hypothermia. So if we don't have just the right conditions in the springtime, if it's too dry or too wet, or we don't have enough bugs, it makes it real tough.
Yeah.
And this year with the weather we had this spring, I think that was kind of tough on the pheasants again. Then the other thing, we had so much water this year. This is the most water we've seen in a long time. A lot of those places where those birds would typically nest was underwater. So that made it tougher too. But we had some meetings here last week, and we don't think we got a really good count on the pheasants in South Dakota this year, just because of all the different conditions. And there is a ton of habitat. This is a lot of grass out there.
Yeah.
So I don't think we saw all the pheasants we should have seen. I get a lot of stuff from my landowners when I'm out visiting with them, driving around talking to the farmers and ranchers, and they've told me they've seen pheasants. Nobody's really said it's any worse than last year. So I think we'll be as good as last year, if not a little bit better even.
Yeah. And pheasant, for some reason, South Dakota's pheasant industry, as a business, is a big deal. I know a couple of my friends down in that south of the Mitchell area, they rely on that quite heavily to make it through the rest of their farm and ranch income for the year.
Yes, there is a lot of people who do that, a lot of business in South Dakota. And the amount of hunters that come to South Dakota and spend money is huge on the economy of the state. It's a big funding source for our department. So yeah, it's a big deal in South Dakota, and that's where everybody wants to go hunt pheasants. And I think we're more than happy to have people here doing it.
What's the deer population look like? You guys do any surveys for deer and antelope yet?
We're doing, we did some antelope surveys earlier this summer. Looks like our antelope populations are pretty stable, if not growing a little bit. So that's been good. Right now we're actually doing classifications. In South Dakota, we pretty much set our numbers every 2 years. This year it kind of looks like to me, and this is all anecdotal information, just kind of what I'm seeing out in the field and talking with landowners, is a lot of twins, a lot of deer this year. So
Good.
our deer numbers haven't been that great lately. So I think they're rebounding some. So it looks good. What I've seen, it looks good. Our mule deer numbers are looking all right again too. So something we've been real concerned with in South Dakota, but things are looking up.
That's what I was worried about too. I wasn't seeing any fawns, at all this year until just recently. Now, because like you said, the grass is tall and the brush and the cover is so thick that I wasn't seeing them. But I think I wasn't seeing them because they're just covered up. Yes,
and that's what we're seeing too. But I think the deer numbers are coming back some. We're not getting back to where we had deer in like 2006, 7, or 8, but I don't think we want to be back at those levels anyway. They were pretty high.
Yeah.
So we're working back kind of where we want to be able to manage them and, have some tolerance with the landowners, all landowners are happy to see the wildlife, but, when you get too many of them, it makes it a little tough on you too.
Well, John, we're up against the clock here. People have questions, comments, concerns. How do they get in touch with the game fish and parks?
You can just call our information line. It's in all of our books. It's a great tool. It's open 24 hours a day. Also, if you guys see any violations going on, you can call our tips number. It's in all our handbooks too. You can get a hold of us that way. You can email us. So you just get over our handbooks or get online. It's a great way to get a hold of us.
All right. John Murphy, South Dakota Game Fish Parks, thank you for your time. We'll be back with more coming up in the second half. Andy Mrnak from Piper's Auction is going to be joining us. Keep it right here, Dakota Prairie Outdoors.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust Foundation Female Program is now accepting applications from area youth enrolled in 7th or 8th grade. The Foundation Female Program was established to award recipients with an interest-free loan to purchase 5 bred heifers and assist area youth in establishing their own cattle herd. For more information, qualifications, or to apply for a chance to receive a 0% APR loan, please visit your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust or go to dakotacommunitybank.com. Member FDIC.
The North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame proudly presents East Greets West, the benefit dinner and auction, Friday, November 1st at the Avalon Event Center in Fargo. This annual event's become a benchmark and is always well attended. There'll be a social, a delicious dinner, and auction, and our featured guest speaker is North Dakota Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford. And enjoy great music performed by special guest Jesse Veeder. For tickets, go to NorthDakotaCowboy.com or call 701-623-2000. East Greets West, November 1st at the Avalon Event Center in Fargo, produced and presented by the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Mandan Sporting Goods, 210 East Main. Again, sitting with Joe, talking about deer hunting coming around the corner. When it comes to the deer list, you don't think about your wife's deer list. It's deer hunting, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She doesn't make very good venison.
Let's talk about the rifles for deer season here. You got plenty of them to choose from, but name like some of the top three that people are coming in and they're just flying off the shelf.
Well, I would say the Marlins, Ruger Americans, of course, the Remingtons, of course. Savage is a super gun out of the box. They're as good as any of them as far as accuracy right out of the box.
What are some of the special things that coming around deer season, like optics, ammunition, people are looking at? I know rangefinders are kind of big, and you guys carry a full line of optics as well.
Rangefinders is quite a thing. I mean, you got your cheaper ones, you got your higher ones. If you're going to buy one, you may as well buy a good one that'll get out there.
Mandan Sporting Goods, it's 210 East Main. Stop by.
We want amazing innovations to drive progress for generations. We want jobs and careers for generations. We want American energy production that protects our land and the wildlife for generations. Today, the advanced technologies deployed by the North Dakota oil and gas producers are making that happen. And with the promise of emerging technologies, the energy of North Dakota has a very bright future for generations to come. This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council. To learn more, visit energyofnorthdakota.com.
Hey folks, Scott Bachmeyer sitting with Andy Mrnak from Piper's Auction and Realty. Andy, a lot of great land sales coming up here October. What do you got?
Absolutely. October is a very busy month for Piper's Auction Company, especially on the western side of the state. We're going to kick it off on October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, a 4-day auction period for this year's 14th annual Western Dakota Land Auctions. 5,600 acres throughout western North Dakota in 14 auctions in 4 days, and it's all going to be capped off on Friday, October 11th with a Sentinel Butte property, which includes 320 acres of the actual south half of Sentinel Butte. Lots of good cropland, pasture land, hay ground, and lots of great hunting land in western North Dakota. You can get all the details on each and every one of these sales at pifers.com.
Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Hi, everybody. This is Scott Bachmeyer, and besides being the host of Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio and also a rancher in the Badlands, I'm also an auctioneer. So if you're looking to auction off property, maybe you have farm equipment, a production sale coming up, even a benefit or a fundraiser, I'm the guy that can help you out. Maybe you're listening and you have your own auction company and you find yourself short of help sometimes. I can step up as an auctioneer or even help as a ringman. Give me a call, send me a message, 701-425-6651. That's 701-425-6651.
Hi, this is Andy Mrnak with Piper's Auctioneers, inviting you to the Fall Western Dakota Equipment Auction in Bowman, North Dakota this Friday, September 20th. This year's great event features late model John Deere and Case 4-wheel drive tractors, loader tractors, and combines, in addition to an excellent selection of air seeders, tillage equipment, semis, trailers, grain trucks, vehicles, and lots of livestock equipment, hay equipment, and tools. Join Piper's Auctioneers this Friday, September 20th at Piper's Regional Office in Bowman, North Dakota. Full inventory and online bidding is available at pifers.com.
As a leader in farm and ranch insurance in North Dakota, Dakota Community Insurance understands the importance of protecting all aspects of your operation, no matter how large or small. Your Dakota Community Insurance agent can customize an insurance package to cover your farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. For more information, call your local Dakota Community Bank and Trust or visit dakotacommunitybank.com.
Welcome back, everybody, as we continue Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition on a beautiful Saturday morning across the Dakota Territory, opening grouse season in South Dakota. Right now, good luck to everybody out there chasing the what we call prairie carp is what we call them here. Second half of the program, I welcome Andy Mrnak from Piper's Auction and Realty. Good morning, Andy Mrnak.
Good morning.
Hey, it's almost like I seen you all day yesterday. Good day,
Just
man.
about.
Good day.
It was a great day. You know, if you asked me to paint the or set the mood for the perfect auction day, I would say yesterday would have been about it. We let it rain from probably 8 o'clock until 9:59. The auction started outside at 10 o'clock, and it just quit raining.
It quit raining, and it not only that, but it got like the perfect temperature.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It was the perfect temperature right there in the mid to high 60s, and I don't know if it probably did creep over 70 here towards the later part of the day, but It got warm on the auction block. I know that.
The nice thing that a lot of folks were talking about yesterday was, being able to run those 2 rings. You did some online outside, and then you came inside the building, and people got to sit down in comfortable chairs. Well, if anybody was still interested in the small items outside, you could still be able to do that. Not many people have a facility that can handle that, and I heard a lot of good things yesterday about that.
Yeah, and that whole program kind of works really well with the way we try to move as many people through the system in one day as we can. This sale does allow some of our retirement consigners to bring some smaller items and some tools and clean some stuff up, and as well as continue to roll the sale through with some of the larger items. So,
well, when you talk about what are things looking like equipment on the equipment side across North and South Dakota, because I know you have the Gills over there in Mobridge area that do some work for you as well. And so what's the perception of buyers and sellers at this point with the commodities the way they are?
It's I know it sounds kind of cliche, and it's going to sound maybe like a sales pitch even, but on the backside of it, the used equipment market has actually seen more strength than weakness in the past year and a half, and it's not due to any other reason. Everybody talks about the commodity prices, and now we're talking about standing crops that are may or may not be having some quality issues and whatnot. But the strength of the equipment market for sure is coming strictly from the management of the depreciation and the dollars per hour and the dollars per acre that it takes to put into the crop. And so we've got a lot of clients where the guys are really managing those numbers a lot more. Mm-hmm. And it just makes a lot more sense to go buy a good quality piece of used equipment than it does to go to the dealership. So that's where we're have seen a lot of strength in certain types and kind of equipment over the last I'd say the last 2 years, where we've probably had as much strength in the market as any deterioration. So
yeah, and people are taking care of their stuff. It seems like most all the equipment that you see come through is always in pretty decent condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Though, and as an operator, if you want to reduce the cost per acre, one of the very, very first things you can do is take care of your equipment.
Yeah.
Properly maintained equipment depreciates at a much slower rate than ramming and jamming, I guess. So.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to have you talking about is the West Dakota land auction. I know when you talk about hunting and enjoying, I don't know if you caught a little bit of what John Murphy was saying here just in the first half on the South Dakota Game and Fish side, is the Dakota Territory is loaded with hunting opportunities. And I know you have some properties coming up, and one that sticks in my mind is that Sentinel Butte property, because nice little half section, I think, right? It's 320 or something like that. And
that's correct. Yeah, there's
just beautiful little spot.
It is, and as far as Western North Dakota goes, if you've ever driven across the state, there's always one landmark that really stands out, and that's Sentinel Butte. Mm-hmm. The butte itself is really surrounded by some of the kind of premier big game hunting in the region, and it reminds me a lot of Table Mountain down here outside of Bowman County.
Sure.
And just because the outside draws and the tree lined ravines, and virtually the lack of access to this half section is second to none.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there is a lack of access is what is really going to be a big proponent of why this would be such a good recreational property, as well as still providing some good return on your investment through grazing and what have you. So absolutely, and going to be an unbelievable opportunity for us to even have the ability to sell this property. That's the Hasselstrom sale. That's going to be on October 11th. There's just under 1,000 acres in that entire offering, but the half section of the actual Sentinel Butte itself will be parcel number 1, and then the remainder of the property is extremely, extremely good cropland, grazing land, and hunting land as well. So.
Well, what other auctions you got coming up here, land and equipment wise, that you can talk about here? Because you got plenty of them on the website. It's really easy to get through. Oh, and before that, message on YouTube from Jesse says the online bidding mobile app that you guys have works really great.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
We implemented that here about a year and a half ago. I've actually never used it. I'm an administrator, so I can't get on the front side and see how that goes.
You got to get another
And-
email address and start a different account, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. But so we have a lot of guys that if they can't join us because they're harvesting or whatever, they can send their combine and swipe to bid. So it works pretty well.
It does work nice. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as sales coming up, we're going to start this week here. We've got September 25th and September 26th. We're going to be in Dickinson and in Flasher we're going to start off with Carrie and Charmaine Cattermus's collectible antique car and tractor collection, and where we have 30 John Deere running tractors.
Oh yeah.
There's 6 A's, 3 B's, 3 D's, an H and L.
A G.
Excuse me. Yeah, H and M, a G and R. We've got a 60, a 50, a 60, a 70, and an 80. There's a 1020 and a 2020 and a 3020 and a 4020. So we've got the kind of the whole 20 series tractor, but it's very rare to see a 1020 and a 2020, let alone both in the same sale.
Yeah.
We got a few 30 series tractors as well, and then we start end the tractor auction with a 4440. And then we got 13 or 14 roughly Chevy antique cars and trucks. Obviously, we've got the 1966 Chevelle, got a 327 4-speed in it, and that's really kind of going to be a hot item, I think, for this sale. The Chevelle's been already getting quite a few bids online.
Yeah.
You can already bid on these sales online at Pfeifers.com. The following day, we are going to go from Dickinson over to Flasher. And this is Akert estate sale. Very, very nice equipment over there. Actually, the main reason that we're so excited about this is the first day we got there, they started opening doors up. There was no equipment outside. And some of these, there's 3 trucks here. And I don't have the years in front of me, but there's 3 Chevy trucks. Each and every one of them looks like they came out of the factory yesterday, and I'm talking to 1970s models trucks, 70s and 80s. So
Yeah.
the paint on them is immaculate, and the interior still has that kind of smell to it. So it's just a great line of aged equipment that has been taken care of. That if there's anything that you could really use here, you're going to get something to be able to take home that is just going to be in perfect working order. So, and I've just never seen a lineup like this.
Once again, that's the Dykert Estate auction. That's next Thursday.
Yeah.
Halfway,
It'll be
halfway between Carson and Flasher. That's how I'm going to tell it to people, because I can't remember the Dykerts being from that area. I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking of a different clan, I think. So that's my.
Well, it is kind of your home stomping ground.
It is,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and
so
after that, what's
that's September 25th and 26th, and that's both this week. Following that, we'll be up in Williston for farm and construction equipment sale there that we're putting on. That'll be on October 1st, and we've got a sale in Hague, North Dakota coming up in October, another equipment sale, and then that'll pretty much wrap up our equipment sales here for a few weeks. The Western Dakota land auction, which you touched on, will be October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. There's 14 auctions in 4 days. They scatter over 5,600 acres throughout Western North Dakota. So that's October 8th, 10th, and 11th. For some of your hunting listeners around the Dickinson area, we got a quarter of really good cropland that has tree rows on it. That'd be really good pheasant property ground. It's only 5 or 6 miles from Dickinson. Excellent opportunity for to get a return on your investment. So that would be a nice property. We also have 900 acres south of Dickinson, and that'd be near Leffer, and that would be strictly crop and hayland, but some extremely good soil productivity, excellent pasture ground, and the cropland is really, really, really nice down there south down by Leffer. So that's kind of a really neat area. There's not a lot of land that comes up in that little pocket very often. So
when you're looking at people doing the rental of land here, is cropland rents and pasture rents, are they still holding where the people can still come in and make it work, I guess you could say?
Yeah, we're not seeing a lot of new results on cropland and pasture land lease rates here in the fall.
Sure.
A lot of that gets renewed in the spring. So what we saw this spring was a lot of strength in the lease market. So I know some property over there by in that Grant and Sioux and Morton County areas. They were rental rates there, I would say, were strong to positive gains. Over here in Bowman County, there were some really good results here as well. So throughout the western part of the state, you'll see cropland anywhere from that $35 to $75, $80 an acre. So just kind of really has a wide range from top to bottom.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, when it comes to family farms, it seems like more and more of the people are coming back and staying in that family. They want to come back, they want to do it, and they have to expand. And it's just part of I guess you could call it a growing pain, but it's kind of fun to see how the families are expanding and making it work for these younger generations to come back.
Absolutely. When we first started selling in Bowman, when we opened Pfeiffer's in Bowman, that would have been probably 2007. We had a lot of comments, why aren't anybody coming back? Who's going to farm this stuff in a few years?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we went through 2010 through 2013 and then hit 14 and 15. There's a lot of young guys back in the business. So even the communities are starting to get filled up with a lot of, the smaller communities, Bowman and, Hettinger and Lemon. There's a lot of younger families that are thriving pretty well within those communities. So I don't think was a blanket statement that was worth saying even 10 years ago. But now that we can really start seeing that they've got kids back into their families, and we're starting to see a lot of that growth, I guess, within these communities, and that's really helping things out as well. So with that, like what you touched on, families do, if they are bringing next generation, really do need to find ways to make that work, so you gotta put the numbers to it and figure out how many, how big you need to expand it, whether it's worth expanding through leasing or expand it through purchasing some extra property, or maybe even expanding the business, either going from ranching just to a ranch and farm situation where you can grow your own crops, or a ranch, farm, and feedlot operation. So kind of give a full diversity there. So, and you're seeing a lot of that.
And you guys also give land management options too for people. You're not just buying and selling land. You also help if people have questions on how to manage it the correct way.
Yeah, absolutely. Pfeiffer's is a full service auction real estate firm. We do equipment auctions, land auctions, and we've got real estate sales as well for either private sales, land sales, residential sales, and commercial sales. But really, one of the biggest parts of our business is probably the fastest growing part of our business would be the land management side. Dwight Hoffman and his crew right there out of Fargo and Bismarck and Bowman, they scatter throughout the whole region, all the way from Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. We've got some land managers out in Wisconsin as well, some in southern Minnesota, and there's a certain amount of intelligence that you have to run that part of the business.
Yeah.
So if there's ever a question on trends as to what's happening, Dwight and his team are the guys that know about it.
Question comes in and says, does Pfeiffer's do estate planning?
We are not a certified estate planning firm, but we sure visit with a lot of families that are going through that. And, we kind of sometimes act more as free consultants than anything. We're not tax advisors, but we sure have a lot of knowledge about that and a lot of connections as far as who to get you connected with when it comes to that. We do work with a lot of estate planning firms directly, and out of Bismarck and Minot and Denver and in Minneapolis and Fargo as well. And so depending on what situation you're into, we can really kind of get you molded to the right advisor that would work best for you. So it's something if you wanted to make us the first call on that, absolutely. We're not going to take your money and start doing investments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we can sure give sound advice and maybe get you connected with the right professional, because we sure have a lot of connections with the right ones. Succession
planning is a huge thing nowadays in today's markets, and making sure you take the right steps, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you've got long-term planning or exit strategies figured out, you're ahead of probably 90% of the folks around that. You'll see a lot. I think sometimes the conversation is the hardest part to have when it comes to estate planning or succession planning. Once everybody's on the same page, boy, you can save yourself a lot of money. You can save yourself a lot of taxes, and really save yourself a lot of heartache if something wrong happens as far as an early death or what have you. So proper planning there really goes a long ways. So
text message comes in, says, does Andy have a pronghorn antelope tag this year?
We do.
You do?
Andy
Good.
does.
All right.
Yeah, so actually, I think today's the last day of, or tomorrow's the last day of bow hunting season. I have not went out once. So I think I'm going to go try to decoy one today. Never done it before, so I'd like to give it a try.
That decoying it's exciting, man. I love when people say they're going to spot and stalk something, Yeah. Because I any kind of hunting, I think go for it. At least you're out there hunting. But I do have to give some people a hard time about what's hunting and what's waiting.
That's right.
If you're
there is a difference.
Sitting by a water hole for 14 hours, that's a lot of waiting right there. So.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between hunting in our area versus hunting in your area, and we're only 30 miles apart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've got roads that'll take you to just about anywhere. So if you got any listeners that are coming out to go antelope hunting or deer hunting in the next few weeks, you don't have to drive around every section line and every county road. Feel free to come, park, walk it down a draw, and you'll be amazed at what you can find.
Yeah.
So, and I know they're not as big a draw as here as they are in your country, but not everything stands by the road. So,
well, everybody's trying to make it easier on themselves nowadays. Yeah. They gotta buy the right hunting boots, man.
That's right. They're gonna make it sport.
We only got a couple minutes here. What else you got going on that needs to be put out there?
Well, there's a lot of sales coming up here throughout October and November. I think Piper's collectively has over 60 auctions between now and Thanksgiving. So whether you're wanting to be buying or selling property in the eastern, central, north, or south, or western side of the region, throughout North Dakota, South Dakota, we do have a lot of agents that cover into South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and now we have offices in Montana as well, all the way out to Bozeman. So, if there's any area specific that you're looking for, check out Pifers.com. We have new land listings updated every day. If you're looking for something, maybe more in your immediate area and you don't have any for sale, or we don't have any for sale, give us a call. We'll see what we can do to help you find some.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Just because it's not on your site doesn't mean you can't help them buy that property.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So the majority of the agents within Pifers are real estate agents and auctioneers. So the cross collateralization works really well. So.
Well, I tell you what, again, yesterday was a great day. We'll catch up with you next week here on a few of those auctions and just keep rocking and rolling through the fall time, I guess, is all we have to do.
You bet. If you guys have any questions as far as what the results of some of these sales are, you can always check those out at Pifers.com. If you click on the online equipment auctions tab, it'll take you to active sales and completed sales. So there's an archived way to check out all the results. Yesterday was fantastic. We had a lot of strength in the more modern equipment market. The Patriot sprayer sold really well.
Yeah.
The 435 and the John Deere tractor sold really well. The rest of the sales just solid from top to bottom. So.
Right. Well, Andy, I'm going to cut you off here and tell people to go to Pifers.com. And if anybody has any questions, comments, you can also get in touch with me, and I'll make sure you get in touch with Andy and Jim as well. Thanks for tuning in. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition here across the Dakota Prairie Outdoors Network. All right. YouTube, thank you for tuning in again. And I'll see what's wrong with my microphone problem, because it shouldn't have been on during that time. But if it is, if I said something, oh well, things happen.